Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for taking your valuable time. The person that sent this information to you may have saved your life or the life of someone in your family. I think what you ought to do is give them a call or take them out for dinner or lunch or a drink. And I kid you not, this is very, very serious information that we are going to cover with you. We're combating the fourth leading cause of death, which is adverse drug reactions, and frankly, no one knows about the seriousness of this situation. Hello, my name is Sunil Wadhwa. I am the founder, CEO, and president of MedX Prime. I'd like to share with you why we started our company and why I am so passionate about this, because we had two unfortunate experiences in our family. About 5 years ago, my wife and I were coming back from New York after spending a week out there celebrating our daughter's 21st birthday. On the way back to California, our corporate office is in Sacramento, California, I was bored. So I started to flip through magazines and I ran across an article on our subject matter, pharmacogenetic testing. And as I read that article, I reflected on our two situations in our family. You see, about 10 years ago, my wife was testing for her black belt in karate. She jumped over a student. Unfortunately, she landed wrong, and it was literally snap, crackle, and pop. She ended up in surgery, 7 screws and a plate later in her leg. And that night, the floor of the hospital was on high alert. Why? Because her breathing got extremely shallow. To kind of jet forward, as we got into this space and got her testing done, the test that we're going to talk about, we discovered that she is a very poor metabolizer of morphine. Well, guess what she was given during and after surgery? Morphine. Hence why she had a severe adverse drug reaction that caused her breathing to be extremely shallow. And as I'm reading this article in flight, I reflected on another situation just a couple of years prior where my father unfortunately went through an open heart surgery. And as you can appreciate, the meds that an open heart patient is put on. And he had nothing but reactions. Dizzy spells, he fell a few times. So he would call the doctor and say, "Doc, I'm feeling really terrible on these medications." And the doctor's response would be, "Well, come on in and we will try something else." So off to the doctors we would take him. They would take out a medication, add a medication, increase the dosage, decrease the dosage, off to the pharmacy, back home, try that cocktail. Well, that wouldn't work. "Hey, doc, I'm feeling worse." Well, let's try something else. Ladies and gentlemen, what I have just stated to you is something that all of you, unfortunately, most likely have experienced. Nothing new what I just shared with you. Well, this nonsense that my father went through took about a year before they finally figured out the cocktail that worked for him. Absolutely ridiculous. And I'm reflecting on these situations as I'm reading this article. Reading this article about a test that had been in the market for a number of years at that time. And I'm thinking, why in the world didn't my father's physician give him this simple test before cutting the man open in half? That's what open heart surgery is, ladies and gentlemen. I was so angry when I read in that article that adverse drug reactions is a fourth leading cause of death. I was absolutely fuming mad when I got off the plane. I called my management team and I said, "Guys, we know nothing about this space, but we're going to get into this space, and our objective, our mission is simple. It's stated at the bottom of the screen there. We're exposing every doctor and everyone we can, like you, that's listening to this call today, because it is, again, a very serious situation." Let me begin by asking two very important questions of you. Do you or anyone in your family take medication? Unfortunately, most all of you can answer yes to that question. Have you or anyone in your family ever had an adverse drug reaction? And unfortunately, most all of you can answer yes to that question as well. And the reason is very simple. You see, in the United States, there are 4 billion prescriptions written every year. 4 billion. The population of the U.S. is only 330 million. And fortunately, some of us do not take medications, thank goodness. But let's say 250 million people do take medications, just to be conservative here. That simply means, again, that most everyone is on meds or has somebody in the family that is. And most have had an adverse reaction or someone in the family has. Very scary. You see, sadly, we are a nation being over-medicated, period. Over-prescriptions is what's happening out there. So what if there was a test, a very simple test, that could look inside your body, so to speak, and give your doctor vital information about you? It took a look at your genetic makeup and your metabolism, and with this just simple test, just one time, that doctor would know from a medication standpoint what would work best for you, what will not work for you, what might cause harmful side effects or even catastrophic interactions. And thereby there would be no more guessing as to what to prescribe you as a patient. So welcome to the new frontier of personalized medicine, ladies and gentlemen. Not a true statement where it says new frontier. You see, this test actually was approved almost 14 years ago by the FDA in 2005. And yet you don't know about it, and with all due respect, your doctor doesn't know about it. Let me let that sink in for a second. You're thinking, come on, Sunil, really? No, seriously. I don't care what part of the country you're in. I challenge you to walk out the door and go talk to 100 doctors in your community, and you'll be hard-pressed to find maybe one or two that might know about this. And frankly, even if they say they know about it, they really don't know about it. It is one of the strangest things that I have seen in my business career. Let me share some staggering numbers with you about adverse drug reactions. You see, 2 million of us are going to be hospitalized every year in this country because we took a medication or a combination of meds and didn't suit our body, and we found ourselves in the hospital. Now, the more dramatic and serious number, of course, is 125,000 deaths that are going to happen annually in this country. Again, we take a medication or a combination, didn't suit our body, and we're dying at a rate of 125,000 people a year. Again, FDA reports it's the 4th leading cause of death. These are not my numbers, ladies and gentlemen. These are published numbers. But we are all, I think, numb to numbers. I just share some very serious numbers with you, and they probably went in one year and out the other, frankly, and with all due respect. So I want to give you an analogy here. You see that 125,000 deaths a year due to adverse drug reactions is like an airplane crashing every single day for the next 1 year solid. Let that reflect for a second. An airplane crashing every single day with 350 passengers equates to 125,000 deaths because of this situation. Here's my point. If that, God forbid, ever happened, would you get on an airplane? I think not. I think most of us would use some common sense and say, wait a minute. After the 3rd or 4th or 5th consecutive crash, I think most of us would say, wait a minute, there's something goofy going on here. I'm not getting on an airplane. Of course, the airline industry would seize. Trillions of dollars would be lost. Congressional hearings would happen. Heads would roll. So why the heck is that not happening in this industry? And I think we all know the answer to that. The pharmaceutical and our medical industry is very powerful. But this is the reality, the 4th leading cause of death. Let me share a couple quick stories with you. We have a friend of ours to the company here. His name is Dwayne. He's a CEO of an insurance marketing company. And as you can see, he had a severe adverse drug reaction. His body literally blew up to double the size. In fact, when this picture was taken, it was taken on a good day, he tells us, because when it initially happened, his body had ballooned up to even a bigger amount than you see in that picture. So very scary. Obviously, he's a huge proponent of the test that we are talking about, to the point that he has rolled this out to his agent force nationwide. Here's a very unfortunate story. One of our representatives, this is his daughter-in-law, a mother of 5, beautiful young lady, 37 years old. One Sunday evening, she wasn't feeling well. She told the family, hey, I'm going to go take a nap. Her little baby girl ran and found mommy dead. You see, Carrie was on 8 medications, had a severe reaction that night, and passed away. Here's another very unfortunate situation. Sorry to share this graphic picture with you, but this is a gentleman that had some chest pains going on, so he went into emergency, and there they gave him a steroid. Well, the steroid had such a reaction, as you can see, he ended up in ICU for 3 months. Okay? Very serious situation that happened. Another very sad story. A police officer at Texas A&M. He was rescuing a cat, and the cat bit him, and it went through his glove and punctured his skin. He received medical treatment and was given medication which caused him to suffer a severe reaction to the drug. He was transferred to ICU, where he was placed on a ventilator. His condition rapidly deteriorated, and he passed away on August the 8th. Ladies and gentlemen, how sad. A police officer getting bit by a cat, gets the wrong medication. He is now dead. Very unfortunate. Here's a beautiful sports reporter in Houston, Texas. She had a reaction and got disoriented to the medication she had just started, that people were afraid that she was actually kidnapped and so on, and the worst thoughts, of course, came in everybody's mind. Well, what happened was she got disoriented, she got lost, and they found her under the freeway overpass. Thank goodness that story ended in a positive way. And the stories go on and on and on and on and on. But let me share something that I'm so very excited to report to you here today. Although what I said earlier, that you don't know about this and most of the population do not know about this brilliant test, and in fact, majority of the medical community has no clue about this test, I'm very, very happy to tell you that the Mayo Clinic supports this test. In fact, they've done a brilliant 4-minute video that you should please ask for from the individual that sent this information to you about the genius of this test. Along with Mayo, Vanderbilt, St. Jude's Children's Research, in fact, St. Jude's, I want to bow to them, if you will, because last year they made a commitment to test every patient with this brilliant and simple test. Okay? So again, I bow to them. I applaud them for that decision. Others like Icahn and Stanford and George Washington and Johns Hopkins and Cleveland and others have indeed incorporated this brilliant test. However, again, I challenge you, and I'm telling you, that majority of the population in the medical community space do not know about this test, period, end of story. The Associate Director of the FDA has been quoted to say that this is the science that allows us to predict a response to drugs based on an individual's complete genetic makeup. It helps doctors to individualize drug therapy, decrease adverse drug reactions, and increase the effectiveness of treatment plans. Pretty common sense stuff here, folks. This brilliant test is called pharmacogenetic testing. Pharmacogenetic testing. For short, you will hear me say PGX. What this test will do for the physician, it eliminates trial and error prescribing. This nonsense of one size fits all must stop like yesterday, especially when the science, the proven science and technology has been out now for 14 years. I'm stressing that obviously, folks, because I want to drive that into your heads that this is not a 14-day technology or 14-month technology. 14 years. And the biggest of the baddest clinics and hospitals are already using this. but your doctor doesn't know a thing about this. By doctors implementing this within their practice, it'll enhance patient care, patient satisfaction, patient compliance. What that means is that people arbitrarily stop taking their meds because they're not feeling good on them. And that's not a very good thing to do. So by being on the right meds, patient compliance increases dramatically. Patient confidence. You know, how confident do you think my father was with his doctors where he was going back and forth and it took them a year to get the right cocktail down? Okay, not their fault. They're not using the technology. I guess it is their fault. Okay, and by the way, it helps to reduce the physician's liability. You're going to see a cartoon next slide that really emphasizes that. But let me recap the genius of this test. What it does, it provides the right information, the right drug can be then given with the right dosage and right from the beginning. I mean, again, common sense here. Why in the world would a doctor not want to use this? And I'm going to address that question in a few minutes. Here's a cartoon. New Yorker. Here's a guy ready to pop some meds in his bathroom. And the caption says, I forget, if I have an adverse reaction, do I call my doctor or my lawyer? Okay? Very serious because the medical community is now being sued by attorneys on behalf of patients that have had reactions to medications. And they're calling doctors to the table as to why they did not use pharmacogenetic testing. Close to our corporate office in El Dorado Hills by Sacramento, here's a sign that I ran across a couple of weeks ago, and I had to take a picture of it because this is becoming a serious issue. Medications is affecting us in all kinds of ways. Here's a sign on our roads now, not only calling the attention to drunk driving, DUI, but also that meds can impair. You think? We already know that. Very serious situation. But I'm also very, very excited to share this with you. You see, when we started the company nearly 5 years ago, there was very little media attention being given to this very important topic. But today, over the last, say, about a year, a little bit over a year, more and more articles are being written about PGX testing as well as the dangers, unfortunately, at the doctors and so on. In fact, I want to point this article out to you. Scientific American last year, or 2 years ago, pardon me, wrote about St. Jude's providing this test for all patients. The last sentence in the article, it's a 3-page article, is from the administrators of St. Jude's. They said this: if you knew about this genetic information and did not act on it, you would not be practicing good medicine. It's a message from St. Jude's to the entire medical community, your doctor, my doctor, and all doctors out there. In essence, why in the world would you not want to use this? And if you're not using this brilliant test, you're not practicing good medicine. It's an amazing, scathing indictment to the medical community. Men's Journal talks about every time we walk into a doctor's office, we run the risk of too many tests that we don't need, medications that are ineffective or dangerous. American Family talks about 1 in 6 hospitalizations of older adults is because of an adverse drug reaction, and other facts are listed there as well. U.S. News talks about 128,000 people dying every year. We said 125, give or take. It's scary stuff. Wall Street Journal, cardiovascular. How many of you listening today are on statins? It talks about pharmacogenetic testing in this article. Oncology. You know, think about cancer patients, okay? What an unfortunate situation. And many of them are being given chemotherapy, okay? They're being nuked, if you will, with this nasty stuff. Well, wouldn't you want the right chemo that would suit your body? Well, they're talking about pharmacogenetic testing here in this article. Interesting fact here. Over the last 20 years or so, all of the crazy mass shooters out there, including this knucklehead in Las Vegas last year that shot up so many folks in Las Vegas, a reporter did a study and found that every one of these crazies was on medication, psychiatric medication that leads to aggressive behavior, you think? As you learn a little bit more about this test in just a few minutes, you'll reflect and say, well, wait a minute. What if these patients were given this very simple test? And what if their cocktail, if you will, the meds that they were put on, were different meds based on their body? Perhaps they would not have acted out as they did. That's the inference here, folks. We'll never know. God knows what happens or will happen or could have happened. Okay? But you get my point, I hope. And we're going to talk about this test here in a sec. June 6th, just last month, Think Advisor wrote a beautiful article about the genius of this test. Pharmacogenetics ensures safe and effective prescribing in an era of medicine where 70% of Americans take prescription drugs, and other amazing facts, again, about the genius of this test. So ladies and gentlemen, this test is a very simple test. It's given to you by your doctor. It's a cheek swab in your mouth, a Q-tip in your mouth. Takes about 2 minutes, very simple test. Is sent to our lab. And within 7 to 10 days, your doctor receives a report. And the report is very comprehensive. It shows the doctor what meds you can handle, and more importantly, what meds you cannot handle. Our lab partner provides the most comprehensive test in the market today, period. We also do a drug-to-drug interaction, drug-to-food, drug-to-alcohol, and we use what is called next-generation sequencing. In fact, our lab also won an award 2 years ago, so it is the best of the best in the market. The cost of the test. Medicare reimburses for this test. Now, of course, it's up to your doctor's discretion to give the test to determine medical necessity, but Medicare does reimburse under certain circumstances. Medicaid is also reimbursing in 13 states, and many insurance companies are now reimbursing as well. So our lab will do a pre-authorization before running the test, so there's no surprises for the patient, and we'll be more than happy here at MedX Prime to give you all of the information so that you can take to your doctor. So why in the world wouldn't a doctor do this? And frankly, there isn't one reason that a doctor can give me for not doing this test, period. You know, generally we hear we're really busy, we don't have time to incorporate another test, we don't have enough staff. And you know, as much as I appreciate all that, because doctors are working so hard today, they're brilliant people, I love doctors, but I disagree with their position if that's their response. You see, a 2-minute test can keep that patient in better situation, keep them potentially out of the hospital, keep them from dealing with lifelong medical issues, and of course the ultimate, that being death. Okay? So I don't accept a doctor's office not being able to give their patient a 2-minute very simple test, period. In our opinion, at the earliest, a doctor should give this test to their patients, certainly those patients that have already exhibited reactions to medications, which unfortunately are most patients. All patients are different, and their drugs should be too. And that's what this test is all about, giving the right medication, the right dosage, right from the beginning, rather than playing the guessing game. But again, you might be saying, well, Sunil, I get all that. You're right. But you've told me that this is a test that's been around for 14 years. So again, please tell me, why in the world wouldn't a doctor do this? That's an interesting question. And of course, $1 million question that frankly, my team and I have been asking about for the last 5 years now. And we've frankly known the answer to it, but we did not feel like we can say it outwardly because we didn't have solid facts. Well, I'm very, very excited to share this article from NPR, a very large national organization that just came out with an article on June the 28th of 18. Opioid makers cut back on marketing payments to doctors. What they cite here is that since 2013 to the present, These companies have paid over 900,000 doctors a total of $9 billion. You see, doctors have been unduly influenced over the years by the industry's practices. No fault to them. In other words, doing business as usual. But based on this article, things are changing, and things are changing rapidly for the better, I hope. So ladies and gentlemen, what we have done here, and without question, most all of you that have watched this very critical information are saying to yourself, yeah, okay, I get it. I need more information to take to my doctor. And that's precisely what we've done for you. We've created a brilliant one-page, very clear, concise letter on your behalf. So what you'll want to do is go back to the person that invited you to take a look at this critical information. They will provide this one-page letter for you at absolutely no cost. We are doing a national awareness campaign, educating people as yourself about, again, the seriousness of the situation. We want to give you this letter, and we want you to take this letter to your doctor as soon as possible. Certainly, if you're on meds and you've had some problems or somebody in your family has, get this in their hands right away. And when the doctor comes into the exam room to see you, one of your conversations should be, hey, doc, as you know, I've had medication issues, and I've learned about this test that I want to get done. Tell me why I shouldn't get this test done by you. And frankly, and this is my opinion, legal disclaimer, if your doctor says no to giving you this test, please go find another doctor. And this is no offense. Look, again, I love doctors. They're amazing and brilliant people. But this is too critically important for you to take a no answer from your doctor, because you're playing Russian roulette with your life without this test. It is really that simple. So again, in closing our call, please contact the person who sent this life-saving information. They'll provide you a customized letter at no cost. Take it to your doctor, and then let that individual know when you've done that so that they can contact your doctor and make arrangements for your doctor to give you this test. Okay? It's a very simple process. And again, please remember that Medicare reimburses, Medicaid reimburses, and many insurance companies are reimbursing. And when we give you that one-page letter, we'll give you additional information on how all that works. This is a quick overview call. We certainly can't get into all the finite details, but we'll provide all that to you. In closing the call, ladies and gentlemen, common sense here. Common sense. We get a blood test done so that the doctor can see inside our body, so to speak, and can help us to better treat us because he now knows or she knows our numbers. We do a urine test with the same reason, so the doctor can see inside our body in essence. Ladies and gentlemen, that's all this is. This is a proven 14-year-old science so that the doctor can kind of see inside your body as to what your body can handle and what it cannot handle. I'm sorry to be redundant, but I want to drive this home into your head that why in the world would you not want this test done if you're on meds? Makes no sense. Or before you get on any meds, why in the world would you not want the doctor to have right information so that the right medication, the right dosage could be prescribed to you or a loved one from the beginning? And ladies and gentlemen, if we have enlightened you, which I know we have, I'm certain we have opened your eyes to what is one of the most important things that you and I and our families face daily, and that is taking medications. Like you, everyone needs to know about this critical information like yesterday, as they say. So we invite you to not only get the letter and take it to your doctor and get this life-saving test done, but if this has piqued your interest, we invite you to join our national awareness campaign. We've created a brilliant business model where our motto is doing well by doing good. You can participate with us on a spare time, part-time, or full-time basis. Please ask the person that invited you to take a look at this for more information on that aspect of our company as well. Again, we thank you for your valuable time. This is the most important information when it comes to consuming medications that I'm so very pleased that you took time to understand. Please, again, get back together with the person that invited you. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.